Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rudy, your host for today's webinar. Thank you for standing by and welcome to the ISRI India webinar on Jumpstart Your GIS Journey with ArcGIS Pro. In today's webinar, we will explore new and modern functionalities in ArcGIS Pro to jumpstart your GIS journey. The speaker for today's webinar is Ms. Sarika Padakanti. Ms. Sarika is currently working as a solution analyst at ISRI India, extensively supporting customers in defense and government sectors. For the duration of presentation, all participants' line will be in listen-only mode. We also have a panel of ISRI India experts on call to answer any queries you may have. We will have the Q&A session post the presentation. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you may also send them across to the panelist using the chat window on the right-hand side of your console. During the session, if we face any unexpected disruption, please be patient and we would take the necessary steps to restore the service immediately. So now, without further delay, I would like to hand over the proceedings to Ms. Sarika from ISRI India. Ms. Sarika, welcome to the program. You're now ready to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Are you familiar with ArcGIS Pro? If not, it is the right time to get started with. We are coming with a series of webinars on ArcGIS Pro for different level of users, starting with an introduction session to taking a deep dive into the ArcGIS Pro. So let's begin with your GIS journey using ArcGIS Pro. And so to get started with, let's understand what is ArcGIS Pro. So what is ArcGIS Pro? ArcGIS Pro is also known as the next generation desktop GIS. We can even say that it is the replacement of ArcMap. And as the picture says, it is a part of the integrated platform and it is connected with the enterprise and even the ArcGIS Online as well. So to understand more about it, it is a fusion of applications. So if you see earlier, we were using a 2D application called ArcMap. And for making the database arrangements or the connection to the databases and designing the schemas and everything was done with the help of the Arc catalog. And now we are using the same thing in the ArcGIS Pro. And if you see, we were earlier using a separate application called ArcGIS Globe and ArcScene for a global and local scene applications, and City Engine for designing the city models. But right now, all the three applications are in a single interface and have been brought together to make it easy and flexible for the users. So as you can see, this is the simplified and a unique interface where you can access all the three applications. And to know more about it, ArcGIS Pro is a 64-bit application and can leverage the hardware capabilities of your machine. So it can use all the 4 cores of your machine. And not only that, it has a capability to use the graphic card and so on for the 3D display and the animations and etc. The user interface has become even more simpler. Even a person with a minimum knowledge can start exploring it. And it is tightly coupled with ArcGIS Enterprise and ArcGIS Online. And simultaneously, you can get the combined experience of 2D and 3D as well. Unlike ArcMap, you can create multiple maps, layouts within a single interface. So to know the major things about the interface, there are 5 major things about the new ArcGIS Pro interface. So it is contextual. That means ArcGIS Pro has a ribbon-based contextual interface. And it is initiative, that is, it is coupled with the context tools. This familiarity makes traditional workflows even more simpler. And ArcGIS Pro has a project-based folder structure designed to contain maps, layouts, toolboxes, database connections, styles, folder connections, and so on in a single project. And it is map focused as well. And last but not least, ArcGIS Pro integrates 2D and 3D in one single application and provides a high web connected interface. And like as of now, we have understood about the ArcGIS Pro, the introduction, the interface, and all these things. So let's see what all we can do with the help of ArcGIS Pro. So moving forward with ArcGIS Pro, we can perform analysis. So ArcGIS Pro allows us to perform different kinds of analysis. And when it comes to the new things in the analysis in ArcGIS Pro, the one most familiar thing is the gallery of favorite tools. So as you can see, unlike earlier ArcGIS or ArcMap, so before we were not having a gallery of tools, but now you have got a gallery of tools, and you can even customize your tools. That is, you can bring your favorite tools inside the gallery. And not only that, you can perform some of the analysis on the fly without saving any outputs to your machine. And whenever you click on a tool, it will redirect you to a pane through which you can configure the tool parameters. And this is the analysis part. And not only the general analysis, if you want to stitch the tools together, you can use the model builder capabilities. You can use Python windows and start writing Python codes. And newly, we have even integrated the Python notebooks, and you can start using the Python notebooks as well. And for the routing and all those kind of analysis, you can use network analysis, which is directly accessible through the tab. And there are many more tools for the image and raster analysis as well. Moving ahead with the editing, ArcGIS Pro has many editing tools, and now you can simultaneously edit in 2D and 3D environment. And simplified edit sessions means, unlike ArcMap, where you need to start editing. Suppose if you want to edit a feature, you need to right click on it or start editing to edit a feature. But here you will be always in an edit session where you can start creating your features. And you can visualize the layers you are editing in both 2D and 3D as well. So you can see the features from all the perspectives. Editing involves creating, updating, and maintaining your data. So you can perform all these tasks in ArcGIS Pro. And you can create your own group templates, topological rules, and so on. And we have one more thing that is known as mapping and visualization. When it comes to the mapping and visualization, the drawing performance has been drastically improved. And as discussed, we can create multiple layouts and multiple maps. And we can set transparencies, visibility scale ranges, and we have many more tools that are available with the mapping and visualization. And we have capability to create 3D cartography as well. And we can even create map series and animations and export it into a map book or and movies. And we have different kind of symbology tools that are available on the appearance tab. So we can rightly start using it. And finally, coming to the extending your reach, you can share your web maps and web scenes directly to the ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. So unlike ArcMap, in ArcMap we used to publish we used to configure the feature services and publish those feature services to the enterprise and online, and later configure the web maps. But here with the ArcGIS Pro, you can rightly configure the web maps and the web scenes directly. Like you can start from the scratch and publish it. Then we have the packages. When it comes to the packages, you can create different kinds of packages. Packages is nothing but you can bind all the layers and data sets into a single file, and where it will be easy for an user to share with the others in the organization or to share it with the ArcGIS Online and Enterprise. And we have different kinds of packages such as map package, layer package, and project package. Project package is where you will bind everything like all the tools, history, databases, and everything together. And as we discussed, we can create multiple maps and layouts. Yes, we can even share those maps and layout files as well. And we can even publish the task items and create the task files and even the symbology. Those are the style files and so on. So let us quickly see a short demo on all these functionalities and to understand about the interface and everything in detail. Let me quickly open the ArcGIS Pro interface. So if you see the interface, this is the new ribbon-based and contextual interface. So on the top, whatever you're seeing on the top is a ribbon-based interface. You must have worked on the Microsoft application. So similar to that, we have we have configured the ArcGIS Pro, where user can start exploring the tools just by clicking on a tab. So all the relevant tools have been categorized and placed into a particular tab. So if you see on the top, when you click on the map, you will find all the tools that are relevant to a map tab. And when you click on the insert, you see all the buttons and the tools that are required for importing or inserting the new maps, scenes, and the new layouts, and so on. And you can even make the connections. You can directly make a connection with the cloud as well. And then we have the analysis tab. So what it is basically, it has combined all the tools that are related to analysis into a single tab, so that whenever a user get confused, he can directly go to that particular thing and start searching for what he requires. And on the left, you can see we have contents pane. So contents is nothing but it is similar to the table of contents in the ArcMap. So whenever you add the data sets into your map window or the map interface, all those will be lined up here, and you can enable and disable it to see to visualize that on the map interface. And you can even sort it or list it by the data source, selection, and editing, and so on. So these all options are earlier, like a few of them were available in the ArcMap, but we have brought in more options with the ArcGIS Pro. And on the right, if you see, as we have discussed, it is a project based file folder. That means it contains all the elements that are required for a project. So if you see, we have a folder for maps, toolboxes, databases. So when I click on this, whatever maps, or as we have discussed that we can create multiple maps and layouts. So whatever is over here, like as you can see in the map interface, I have several maps. So all those maps will be saved to your maps folder. And then we have toolboxes. So by default, when you create a project, you will get a toolbox along with it. And you can either start creating models within this toolbox, or you can create your own toolbox as well, or you can add an existing one as well. And then moving on to the databases, here you can make a database connection or create a new database file, and so on. So again, by default, you will see a connection like a database that has been configured with the project file. So if you want to save anything, you can directly save to this database rather than creating a new one. And then we have layouts. So whatever layouts you're creating, so in ArcMap, you are sure that we can only create one layout. We can only create one layout at a time. But here you can create multiple layout files. And then if you have customized symbology, and if you have those style files, you can import those style files, and so that it will appear in your symbology gallery. And then we have folders where you can start connecting your folders. You can connect folders from anywhere on your machine. And you can, when you connect, it will become easier for anyone, like whoever is accessing the software. It will become easier for you to directly navigate through the folders and add that data to the map interface. And finally, locators. Locators are like, if you want to convert your non-spatial data into the spatial data, you will use this locators. So you can even create your own locators. So all those locators will be placed into this. So how to create this, how to start creating this? So just go to the project folder, and when you open your interface, it will look like this. And you can just say new and click on the map tab to create a new project. And when you click on the map tab, you will get a dialog box saying you to create or asking you to create a create new project. So in this new project, you can name it. Suppose let me say ArcGIS Pro webinar, and I can set the location of the project so that all the files will be saved into this particular location. So once you create it, you will find all the tools, like whatever we have shown on the right in the catalog, you will find everything in that particular folder. So let me show you. For your understanding, I have created already a pro project that is public webinar 3rd09. So if you open this project folder, you will see everything. That is the APRX file and the toolbox and the geodatabases. And if you have run any raster functions, you will even find the history of them as well. And not only that, with this new version of 2.6, we even have the capability to store the backups. So by mistake, if your software has been closed, or if it has any issues with the licensing, and if you would have not saved the software or the process, whatever is going on, you can restore it back as well. So in this way, you can start creating your own projects. So now I'll move back. And from the beginning of this demonstration, we are stressing it on saying that contextual based, contextual based. So what is contextual based? So how it varies? So contextual based is nothing but like whenever you have some data set within your map interface, the tools and everything will change accordingly. And as we discussed that ArcGIS Pro is initiative, so it will suggest you, it will highlight the tools that can be used for the particular data set. So what you can do, you can quickly drop down the databases and add the data sets. Either you can drag or like drag and drop it into the interface, or you can just right click on it and say add to the current map. Or if you want to add it to a new map, you can say add to the new map. So for your purpose, I have already dragged and dropped. So you can see that. Let me just. Okay, so I have added a village boundary of Maharashtra. So if you see, these are the villages of Maharashtra. And when you click on the villages Maharashtra, you see that the tabs will change accordingly. So right now, my selection is on the map, the contextual based, and you see there are 7 tabs: map, insert, analysis, view, edit, imagery, and share. So when you click on a vector data set, since this is a vector data set, ArcGIS Pro will suggest you by itself what tools you need to use and what tools will be applicable. So as soon as I click on the villages underscore Maharashtra, you see there are 3 more tabs coming in: appearance, labeling, data. And appearance tab will allow you to, suppose if I click on appearance tab will have everything related to symbology and the appearance of your data. That is, you can set the visibility ranges, you can set the transparency of the data set, or you can use the swipe tool to see the background layers, and you can see there are symbology tools and the filters and so on. And when it comes to the labeling, whatever is required for labeling a feature, all those tools are available in this particular tab, in this particular ribbon. And the data, if you want to edit an attribute value, or if you want to create subtypes or domains, all those things are available in the data tab. So now you may ask like how it will vary for a raster. So I'll show you that as well. So now I'm just deselecting this villages underscore Maharashtra, and let me enable a raster dataset. So here I have an elevation raster for whole India. So when I enable this, you see, and like I am making a selection on SRTM. So as soon as I clicked on SRTM, you see the labeling tab on the top has been disappeared. That means the labeling tab is not applicable for this particular data set. And if you go to the insert, analysis, and the imagery and everything, you will find the tools that are relevant to the imagery. So let me show you. So when I click on the imagery, you see the classification wizard and the raster functions and the georeference. All these tools have been highlighted because these tools are only applicable for the raster data sets. So those tools have been highlighted. So let me show you for the vector data. Suppose if I'm choosing vector data, you can see that all these tools are disabled, and you cannot perform this analysis, or you cannot run these tools over a vector data set. So that is why we called ArcGIS Pro as an initiative application. And then moving on to the editing, as we discussed, editing has become even more simpler. Like unlike ArcMap, when you need to start editing, here we need not start an edit session. Always you will be in an edit session. So let me show you that. One second. Rudy can, okay, one second. Thank you. So let me show you how to start editing. So again, I'm adding this villages Maharashtra layer to the map, and I'll zoom to an extent. So here I need not start any edit section or anything. So directly as soon as I selected the vector dataset, you can see there is an edit tab coming over in. I can just click on the edit tab and say create. So I want to create a feature. So if I want to create a feature, I can just drag it. So for randomly, I'm drawing a feature over here. And if I want to split a feature, then what I can do, I can just select a polygon. So let me say this polygon and say split the polygon. So I did not start any edit session. So without starting edit session, I have created a feature. Then I have even clipped a feature. That is, sorry, splitted a feature. And once you are sure that your whatever edits you have made are right, you can save it. Or if you're not sure, or if you think that these are wrong, you can just discard those features as well. So right now I'll just discard it. And now even attribute data editing has become even more simpler. So let me show you first about the attribute values within this data set. So when you open the attribute table, you can either right click on it and say open attribute table similar to the ArcMap, or if you're not aware of this, you can directly go to the data option on the data tab, and then you can click on the attribute table. So once I have opened this, you can see that this attribute values have state name, district name, Gram Panchayat name, and so on, the census codes and all these things. So there are some issues, or so there are some errors within this data set. I just want to correct it. So if you see the state name over here, the state name, some of the fields are with the key code MH, and some of the fields are with the full name Maharashtra. So I want to replace the field names MH with Maharashtra. So how to do that? I can quickly go to the find and replace tool and say find all the data set with the MH values and click on search. I can just select this. One second. So I'll say find all the MH values within the attributes. So as soon as I clicked on find, you see all the MH values has been selected. So I will say replace it with Maharashtra, and I'll click on the replace all button. So as soon as I click on it, all the MH values in the attribute fields will be directly converted into the full name of the state. So then you can start using this data sets for configuring the applications, publishing the feature services, and later using it for other applications. And now we have seen the editing in a 2D. So how to make editings in a 3D? So editings in 3D are much more simpler. So let me show you that. So here, if you can see, like we have a built up area. So I just want to create a 3D building out of it. So how to do that? So for you, I'll just say go to insert and import a 3D scene if you want to create a 3D feature, or if you want to edit it in 3D. So as of now, I have already created, so I'll just dock this. So since I want to view 2D and 3D simultaneously, I'm docking the windows side by side, and I'll enable the 3D layers, so the buildings. So as you can see that we have enabled the 3D layer, and this is the polygon that I want to create. So now I want to make use of this polygon and create a building. So I'll just say edit vertices, and I'll pull this building, and I'll go back and say apply the realistic multi-patch texture. As soon as I say I call that tool, it will ask me to open either load a texture, or you can use a color. So you can just give the texture of the buildings. And if you want to make any settings, like if you want to zoom in, zoom out, or rotate, you can do that as well. So in this way, you can start configuring the features. So as soon as you draw polygons in the 3D, the polygons will be reflected in the 2D window as well. So this will be useful when you want to view your map in all the perspectives, and when you are editing a feature, if you want to know that whether your feature is being placed at the right corner, so you need to edit in the both the scenes, like both the 2D and 3D. You need to make use of the 2D and 3D scenes simultaneously. So let me, so as I have shown you how to create, let me show you another scene which has been developed in ArcGIS Pro. So if you see, we have one more scene which has been configured in ArcGIS Pro. So here we have used the city engine rules, and we have created a temple city. And let me show you, take you around this temple city. So this features and whatever buildings you're seeing, these have been completely created with the help of ArcGIS Pro. And if you see, we have 3D realistic water symbology as well, which gives us the real effect of water. So in this way, you can make use of the 3D editings, and you can create the realistic scenes, and then you can convert it into a movie as well. So it is easier for you to start creating the new movies, the animations with the base of the spatial data sets. And then moving on to the interactive analysis and the analysis part, we have different kinds of analysis that are available with the ArcGIS Pro. So today I'll be showing you the easy, that is how to create an interactive analysis or the on-the-fly analysis without saving and output your machine. So how to do that? So let me show you. So I'll zoom to an extent. And now since I want to perform some analysis, I'll go to the analysis tab where I will find all the tools related to the analysis. So if you see, as we discussed, we have the model builder tool. So when you click on the model builder, you will be redirected to the model builder pane where you can start like dragging the tools into the interface. So let me show you how to do that. Suppose if you want to calculate field, you can directly drag the tools and you can configure these tools. So this is basically for stitching multiple tools together and creating a customized model for the projects basically. So you can make use of it. So as soon as you see that I have opened a model window, you can see a tab coming over in saying the model builder, and it has all the tools that are required for a model to build a model, such as iterators, and if you want to validate the tool and all this. So similarly, let me close this for now. So similarly, we have Python window, and if you want to open or run a Python code, you can use a Python window, or if you want to open a Python notebooks, you can start configuring those as well. And then we have ready to use tools. So I'll give you a short demo on this ready to use tools as well. So these tools are coming from ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. And if you want to open a geoprocessing pane, or if you want to quickly search, you can say go to tools. Or if you have closed this window by mistake, like the geoprocessing window, you can directly click on the tools and you will get the pane on your left, on your right. So as you have been set. And now, so let me show you the 3D interactive analysis. So we have a tab over here called exploratory analysis. So I want to make use of these tools and show you how much area is visible from a particular extent and so on. Like here, we are not generating any outputs. We are just making use of the data set. So let me change this properties first. So within 10 kilometers, I want to identify the areas that are visible from certain location and the areas that are not visible, so that it would be helpful when I am placing, suppose in some cases I need to place a camera, a CC camera, or let's say for defense purpose, placing a soldier at certain locations so that he can cover all the targets or he can cover the maximum area to make sure that we are safe. So how to do that? You can place the camera over here. So let me say I want to place my pointer here, and you can see I can move this as well. So this is interactive orientation. So based upon your direction, you can see the areas that are visible and the areas that are not visible. Suppose the green color areas, whatever you're seeing, these are the areas that are visible, and the pink color areas are not visible to the soldier or the CC camera from this particular location. So this is how you can make use of the interactive analysis. So I'll show you the some more tools as well. So we have seen a viewshed analysis. Then we have dome analysis as well. Dome analysis will give you the overall distance like in a dome structure. So it will basically tell you like how much area can you cover. So yes, so I have chosen 10 kilometers, and you can see from that particular location, you can, all the green colored areas can be viewed or are visible from that particular location, and all the pink colored ones are not visible from that particular location. In this way, like, you can make use of this interactive analysis. So this, we are generating this analysis on the fly. We are not creating any outputs, or we are not creating any feature data sets and so on. And we have one more thing. Suppose if we are planning to build a dam over here, and if I want to identify how much area needs to be cut and how much area needs to be filled. So in that case, what you will do, you will just draw a polygon, the width of the dam, and then you can move this to see how much area needs to be cut and how much area needs to be filled. So if you go to this particular location, you can see that the pink color is the area that needs to be cut, and this area, the green color part, whatever you are seeing, will be filled with the water. So in this way, like, you can make use of the interactive analysis, and like, without saving any outputs. And then coming back to the ready to use tools. So ready to use tools will run the processing, and it will give you the data sets on the fly, the outputs on the fly. So let me show you how to do that. So when I click on the trace downstream, so trace downstream tool allows you to identify the stream flow, like from which direction it is going and where the stream is ending or where the stream is joining. So here it is just asking me for the input points. So I'll just enable this. I have an input point. So here, if you see, this is my input point. So I'll give this trace downstream, and I can set the point ID field, and I can even set the data source resolution. So if I say finest, and if I click on run, it will generate downstream. That is the flow of water from this particular location and where it is going and ending. So this, I have already run this tool since it will take little time. So let me show you the output. So this is the output. So if you see that we have like generated a streamline. So let us see where the stream is ending up. So if you see, the stream is traveling almost like from the Uttarakhand till Bay of Bengal. So here again, I need to just place a marker or a point at certain location to get this analysis, to see where your water stream is ending up. And so till now, we have seen some of the, like, we have understood about the interface, then we have understood about the analysis, a little about analysis, then the editing and so on. And you may get a doubt, like, see, till now I have done everything in ArcMap, and now I want to make use of all the maps which I have configured in ArcMap. So how to migrate from ArcMap to ArcGIS? So let me show you how to do that. So I'll go back to the ArcMap. So many of you must have already worked on this interface. Okay, many of you must have already worked on the ArcMap, and if you see that this is the interface of ArcMap, and you can see it has been completely changed. The ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro are completely different now. So let me enable. So I have some of the data sets over here. So I have the district boundary of Maharashtra, then I have the major highways within Maharashtra. So I want to save this map and make use of this map. Like, I want to directly open this map in ArcGIS Pro. So how to do that? Now let me save this first. So I am saving this. So I'll show you. If you want to save it in a new location, you can save. So I have set a location called MXD folder. In that, I am saving it as maharashtra.mxd. So I'll just say save, and if you want to replace it, yes, replace it. So now you need to know where you have saved it, and go back to the ArcGIS Pro, and you can go to the catalog window, and you can directly add that folder connection. You can directly add that folder connection, saying that it is in my desktop D, and it is in the GeoVision webinars, ArcGIS Pro, MXD, and I'll say OK. So already I have attached it for you. So if you see, this is my MXD folder. So now you can see that maharashtra.mxd, this map document, is available here. You can right click on it and say import and open. So once you say import and open, that file will automatically get imported as another map. So if you see, the map has been labeled with layer 2. So let me rename it. I will just say Maharashtra. And if you want to import it directly, Like if you don't know all the steps, again you can go to the insert tab on the top and you can say import map. And once you say import map, you can go to the folder connections that you have made and select the MXT folder and start accessing this data sets. You can just say maharashtra.mxt and click OK. So once you do this, your map will again get imported similarly and it will be added to your data set. So this is the way, like you need not export anything, like you need not change anything. You can directly make use of the maps that you have configured in ArcMap. And then we have understood the migrating as well. So now let's see how to start with the labeling. So labeling is one of the important things, because most of the times, like maybe our features cannot accommodate or we will not have enough space to label a feature. So but with ArcGIS Pro, the task has become even more simpler because we are making use of the Maplex label engine. So Maplex label engine has many advanced labeling features and the capabilities where you can start labeling your features as you like. So suppose normally with ArcMap, you used to go and right click and go to the properties and do all those things. So if you're not aware of this procedure, so what you can do, you can directly go to the labeling top on the labeling tab on the top, and you can say enable this layer. So I am enabling the layer. So this is again the village boundaries. So each village will have its own name. So as you seen, as I have named it, like as I have enabled the label, you can see all the labels appearing over the map. And now those labels are clustered; they are overlapping on each other, and we are not able to understand like which label is for what and which label is talking about which polygon and so on. So how to make these adjustments? So we can make these adjustments with the help of this label tab only. Suppose if you want to change any general things like the font, and suppose if you want to convert the font into anything required, you can do that. So whatever is available with the Microsoft, we provide support for all those font styles. And then if you want it in a regular or bold and everything, you can do that as well. And if you want to change font size, you can do that. And if you want to change the color, so let me change to the royal blue. So you can just drop down and change the color. So once you're done with it, you can choose where you want to place a label. You can say whether it is a basic polygon or boundary polygon or a land parcel. And you have many more things like water compact and whether it is water body and so on. So you can choose among this. So if you say label land parcel, it will be placed inside a polygon. So as you can see, as soon as I clicked on the land parcel, the labels have placed within a polygon. But the thing is, when the polygon or the size of the polygon is small, it cannot show the label, and it only appears when you zoom to that particular location. So how to resolve this issue, how to get a solution for this? So you can direct go to the labeling options. So as you can see here, when you click on the labeling properties, you can right click on it and say labeling properties. You will be redirected to this window. So as you can see, we have named with the village name, and then you can directly go to the symbol. And here, if you want to change any appearance, sorry. So here, if you want to change any appearance things, such as the color, font size, and so on, you can do those things as well. And so since we have already done all the settings on the ribbon, I'm just moving ahead. And if you want to place it, give it any offset, that is offset from the x-axis, y-axis, you can do that. And now let me show you some options like halo. So here I have given a halo so that the label is getting highlighted. So if you're not giving any background color, so let's say none. So your label will not get highlighted. And sometimes when you don't have the background colors, it will get mixed up with the base map labels. So let me show you that. So yes. So now I have not highlighted the text, and you can see that it has just the blue color, and sometimes it will get mixed up with the colors of the background. So to highlight it, you can choose the color. So let me say I want to give yellow color and apply. So as soon as I say it, your text will be highlighted with the yellow color. So you can make all use of all these options. So you can go through this and you can play around, and it is it is very easy for a user with minimum knowledge as well. So he can start doing all these things. And then when you go to the position, suppose if you have the problem with the placement. So now as we have seen, like in some small polygons, the label is not being placed. So in those cases, what you can do, you can make an arrangement saying that I want a regular placement, and I want to set it to the curved in the polygon, and I want to set the first priority to the horizontal position, and may place labels outside polygon. So I can set all the priorities. And now you can make sure that all the labels, like almost all the labels, are being placed. And even though after doing this settings, so sometimes you see there are some polygons which are not labeled. So again, there is an issue with the space. So in that case, what you can do, you can go to the fitting strategy. Either you can reduce the size of the labels, or you can even abbreviate it. Abbreviate it is in the sense, rather than giving the village name, you can give something else. So here I will choose object ID in the case of village name. So object ID will be little small, and it can be placed in the smaller polygons. So when I say apply, you can see wherever the text is not being placed, there you got a key code of the object ID. So similarly, you can place with the village codes or something else. So in this way, you can make sure of using all the labeling capabilities within the ArcGIS flow. And moving to the symbology part, and the symbology, there are many new tools for symbology as well. So let me add some data set first. So with ArcGIS Pro, you can directly connect to the ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. So as you can see here, I have logged into the ArcGIS Online, www.arcgis.com, or you can even log into your enterprise portal, and you can directly make search of data sets here. So you can directly add data sets from your ArcGIS Online. So I'll directly drag this option, Nepal data, yes. So this is basically the census information of Nepal. So in order to get the proper symbology, or in order to make use of all the symbology rules, you need to make sure that your data is relevant and appropriate, so that you can apply all the symbology rules. So now, for your understanding, I'll show the data first, what all it has. So if you see that it has the name, the area, and yeah. So it has the district name, total number of houses, and the roof types, and everything. So it has all the demographic information as well. And if you see that the count of facilities, also they have the count of facilities, like how many people have access to television, computer, internet, and all those things. So you can like there are many more data sets available with this particular data. So now what you can do, you can select this data and go on to the symbology in the appearance tab and choose any of the symbols. Now I want to know where there are more number of computers, and like where they have like the internet connectivity. So I want to identify the number of computers, the more number of computers, and the more number of connections with the internet. So I'll choose the bivariate colors. And once I choose bivariate colors, you can see a symbology pane appearing over the right. So I can set the attributes. So here I will just say computer. So I want a comparison between two. I'll choose computer and then the internet connection. So I'll say internet connection. So as soon as I do this, you can see that there is a tab coming over here and a symbology as well. So the blue color, whatever is there in the blue color, the districts in the blue color has both the high internet connectivity and as well as the computers. The count of the computers is high. You can change the orientation of the symbology to understand it well. So you can change this the legend basically, and as required, you can label it. If you want to label on each corner, you can do that as well. Or if you want to label it on sides, you can do that as well. So now we have done it, like we have applied one symbology. So now let me show you one more new thing. So these are like the charts which I am showing you, or the symbology which I am applying are the new symbology that have come up with the latest version. So I'll disable this for now and I'll enable another map. So this is the district map. So I want to identify the map with the help of the chart symbology. That is, I want to know where I want to know statistics basically, like where they have more number of mud roofs, where they have more number of bamboo roofs, and so on. So I can just select the charts and you can select the chart type. Suppose if I say pie chart, I can just add all the values that I need. So total houses, galvanized roofs, wood planks, mud roofs, RCC roofs. So in this way, you can just add this data sets and one second. Symbology charts. Yeah. So you can apply the symbology and you can select all the parameters or the attribute values that are required. So you can select multiple values, so tile. And by this, you can get to know where in which district there are more number of thatched roofs or tile roofs and so on. You can change the color values appropriately. And if you want to convert it into a pie chart, you can do that as well. And if you want to reduce the size, you can reduce it, or you can set the scale sizes. And if you want to view it in 3D, you can do that as well. So you can say just display in 3D so that your chart will get displayed in 3D, and accordingly, you can set the color values. And we even have the capability for the stack chart where everything will be stacked onto a single bar. So in this way, you can make use of the symbology. And when it comes, so we have played with the vector data, and when it comes to the raster data, how the symbology applies. And just select the data set and go to the symbology pane, and you can see the tools have changed for a vector and raster as well. Now I want to classify this elevation raster based upon the elevation. So I'll just say classify and choose quantile, or I can
Miss
even say
Sarika, I'm sorry for the interruption, ma'am. This is Rudy. There is some background noise going on, ma'am. Yeah.
uh, still
Now it's fine,
Rudy,
ma'am.
is it
Please go ahead.
fine?
Please go
Okay.
ahead.
So I want to set a defined interval, that is I want to give an interval of 1000 and I want to say apply. And when you say 1000 and apply, you can see the color values changing. So you can give 5000 or whatever required interval you want, and you can set the color symbology that you want. So you can see that variations over here where there are lot of terrain undulations. So if you see in this area, you can see the color variations, and if you open the legend, each color is talking about the particular value. So you can even choose the bivariate colors. Okay, the colorized has been filled. So you can just say classify and change the color. So you can do the settings and you will see the changes, and you can apply different kinds of symbology. You can even do resampling and all those things. So what I mean to say is, suppose if you click on a vector, the tools will be appearing based upon the vector data sets, and when you click on the raster, the tools will appear simultaneously. And then we even support the visualization of multi-dimensional layer. Suppose if you want to add a data set which has the multi-dimensional values, you just need to go to the map tab and add data and click on multi-dimensional raster data. Or if you want to view a voxel, you can just click on it and choose the data set. So I have two data sets, so you can choose this .NET CDF file and click OK. As soon as you click OK, your data will be added to the map and it looks similarly. So let me show you that. So this is your data, like how it looks in the 3D. So here this data set is talking about the temperature, and you can even make the, you can even set the data filter. So if you see the color range is talking about the minimum and a maximum temperature. So it is about -6 to 29. You can set the data filter. That is, if you just want to know about the values which have from 23 to so on. So you can see all those values coming in. So in this way, like you can categorize your data set, like you can filter out your data set to see how your voxel layer looks or how your multi-dimensional layer looks. And there are many more symbologies. So since we are running out of time, I'm not able to explain all of this, but in the next sessions, we are explaining about all this in detail. And then as we know that ArcGIS Pro supports multiple layers, yes, we can do that. So just go to the Insert tab and say New Layout and choose the layout size that you want. And from the layout option and the Insert option, you get all the tools that are required for creating a map layout. So you can directly add a 3D scene or a 2D map. So as you can see, I'll just add the 3D data set. So you can just drag and drop the map frame and it will be placed accordingly. So yes. So then your map will be placed and then you can drop a legend, north arrow. So you can select the north arrows, whatever you want. So all the items, the scale bars and everything are present on the window, on the ribbon itself. So you can start creating your own things. So if there is any legend, you can drag and drop the legend and see like how your layout looks. And then you can even give the text and so on. And we have even the capability of adding the dynamic text. Suppose if you want to know like in which units this has been added or when this map time has, like when you have created this map layout. So you can just add this text and edit the data set like time and so on. And if you want to know who is the author of this map, so all those things can be directly added. So as you can see, if I add a user, it will give my name and it will say so and so person is the author. So we can even edit this data set like the text, whatever is visible. So in this way, like we can make use of all the things that are available within the ArcGIS Pro. So now one more important thing is like you might get a doubt saying that how to get access to this ArcGIS Pro. What do I need? Like what licenses do I need? So yes, we'll talk about it. So in order to access ArcGIS Pro, you need to have a license. So what are these license types and how many licenses are available? How many types? So we have three types of licenses, that is the named user, single use, and the concurrent use. Named user is nothing but every user has an identity, the username and password. So this will be assigned or given via ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. So the administrator should give you or assign you those licenses so that you can make use of it. And then we have single use. Single use is also known as the standalone license, where the license will be installed on a particular machine and you can start using that. And this, the only person, whoever is accessing the laptop or the only laptop wherever these licenses have been activated, we can only use in that particular laptop. And when it comes to the concurrent use, as you can see here, multiple people are working in an organization or let us think in a lab. So in this case, like we need not activate license or sorry, we need not configure license in each and every mission. So in this case, what we do, we install the license in a single mission and that is known as the license server. So all the people, whoever are working here, they will fetch the licenses from that particular mission. So that is known as the concurrent license. So these are the three main types of license that are available as of now. And then moving ahead, we have many ArcGIS Pro extensions for different kinds of purpose. So if you see, these are the multiple extensions that are available with the ArcGIS Pro, and these are for the different purpose. Suppose if you want to work on the route analysis, or if you want to generate the shortest route path and so on, you need the ArcGIS network analyst. And if you want to work on image functions and image analysis and all those things, you need image analyst. So all this have a specific a reason and the specific set of tools that are required for your analysis. To get a deeper dive into it and to understand about all these extensions and the advanced capabilities of ArcGIS Pro,